Why is it so hard to build high-speed rail in California? What is going on in California right now blows my mind.
The timelines and the budget for the California high-speed rail is that they can't meet them, right? And so we have $4 billion that has been authorized to go to California to build this project. And we don't want to invest in boondoggles. And so we basically found that they're not going to be able to complete the project, which I think all of Californians and all of Americans knew. But we're going to give them 30 days to respond to us. If they think we're wrong, we'll hear them out. But after that, if they don't make a good case, we're going to take that money back.
Hello guys, hope you guys are doing fine. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host today. My name is Danny, and fast forward to 2025 July 18th, as of the recording of this video, we have news from the White House. Well, this news broke somewhere 14th to 18th. I can't remember the exact day that it broke, but yesterday was the day that many people highlighted it, and I felt the need to talk about it. The White House is in the verge to revoke $4 billion that was meant to help California construct a high-speed rail that was supposed to head nowhere. And I'm not talking about heading to no place. I mean, that was the name of the project, but it seems like this project will never happen or won't happen, or maybe it will come back in the future, but it seems like California doesn't have the capacity to do that because White House is choosing to cripple that project. It's not only about the Trump administration side, it's also about the state side, where it seems like the governor and his entourage do not have a clear plan, and thereby the administration seeing the need to not fund the project. It's gonna be an interesting topic. I wanna urge you to tag along and just let's listen to more opinions, and then thereafter we're gonna come back with my commentary.
Allies and family
They are
members.
from San Francisco, inside of San Francisco to inside of Los Angeles. Should have never been built because airplanes do it better. And you could drive it. You could drive it. No problem with driving it. The roads aren't even crowded. So they were going to do this. Somebody's idea. Somebody got paid off a lot of money and they started it.
Is California still getting a high-speed rail system that connects SF to LA in less than 3 hours? The Trump administration plans to cancel a $4 billion grant for the project, and the head of the Federal Railroad Authority called it a 119-mile track to nowhere. Here's what the current head of the high-speed rail project had to say.
We're not stopping. This is now at a place that we are not changing our path. We know where we are going.
Chowdhury is committed to building the system even if that funding goes away, and says private investors will only speed up construction time.
We are talking with the administration and California legislature to step up more funding through whatever the program they would like to look at so that we can finance against it and keep building more.
But how long will it take before we see trains running? The CEO says they are still planning on laying down tracks next year, but he also says they had to rethink their overall timeline. And that will be coming out in a report near the end of July.
How about this? Could this be the end of the line for California's train to nowhere? The Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, says that he is pulling the plug on $4 billion for California's high-speed rail train to nowhere, as it's known.
Yeah, so Secretary Duffy was at Union Station in downtown LA earlier the year, where he announced an investigation into the federal spending and strongly hinted at that time when I was talking to him that this is something that the Trump administration was looking into. Here's the problem for the whole program. They're depending on this money, and $4 billion is a lot of cash, and without it, they may not be able to continue this. So this is part of the reason that Kevin Kiley, Republican congressman, has been pushing the federal government to do this as a way to essentially kill this program that they say is a boondoggle, that is billions of dollars of over budget, years late, and is not accomplishing what voters intended it to do, which was basically connect LA to San Francisco. So there might be a legal fight over this money, but without this money, it's going to be interesting to see if California can find that money somewhere else.
This has been in the works for 16 years, $15 billion already spent. And to your point, he says it's time for this boondoggle to die.
Interesting. So Trump just posted that he, along with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, will be ending federal funding for California's high-speed railway. And in Trump's post, he makes sure that he completely addresses Gavin Newsom. And then Sean Duffy posts on X and addresses Gavin Newsom. Then Gavin Newsom sees Sean Duffy's post and then addresses Sean Duffy. I'm going to show you what Trump said, what Sean Duffy said, and what Gavin Newsom said, and also hit the follow for more news. I greatly appreciate it. So Trump posted, "To the law-abiding, tax-paying, hardworking citizens of the United States of America, I am thrilled to announce that I have officially freed you from funding California's disastrously overpriced high-speed train to nowhere. This boondoggle, led by the incompetent governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has cost taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars, and we receive nothing in return except cost overruns. The railroad we were promised still does not exist and never will. This project was severely overpriced, overregulated, and never delivered. Thanks to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, not a single penny in federal dollars will go towards this Newsom scam ever again. This was an ill-conceived and unnecessary project and a total waste of taxpayer money, but no more." Then after, Sean Duffy posted on X, "Governor Newsom and California's high-speed rail boondoggle are the definition of government incompetence and possibly corruption. The price tag has gone from $33 billion to $135 billion with no completion date in sight. We could give every single LA and SF resident almost 200 free flights for that much. That's why today we're pulling the plug on federal funding for this train to nowhere. I won't help Gavin Newsom waste your money." Then Gavin Newsom responds, "Won't be taking advice from the guy who can't keep planes in the sky." Yikes. So, whose side are you on, Trump or California Governor Gavin Newsom?
I'm a nice person, man. I never want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I fucking will.
U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announces that they are cutting the funding for California high-speed rail, a major blow to Gary Newsom and the California high-speed rail dream. This project was originally approved by the voters back in 2008 for $33 million, but it has ballooned since to $135 billion, and the federal government just had enough of both high-speed rail and Gary Newsom and decided to cut the funding. So once again, the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announces they are cutting funding for the California high-speed rail. It is the end of a California dream and nightmare at the same time. Gary Newsom.
Breaking news. California's high-speed rail project just got a major federal warning. This just happened today. The federal government officially declared California's high-speed rail project in default. The U.S. Department of Transportation says the project has missed key deadlines, gone over budget, and still doesn't have a clear path forward. They're now warning that up to $4 billion in federal funding could be pulled if the issues aren't resolved. This train was originally meant to connect Los Angeles to San Francisco, approved all the way back in 2008. But nearly 20 years later, there's still no train in operation, just rows of concrete pillars and farmland, especially throughout the Central Valley. Assembly member David Tongapaw, who represents that region, responded today. He said communities like Fresno could be left with what he called a modern-day Stonehenge, unless there's a clear plan. He's introduced AB 377, a bill that will require High-Speed Rail Authority to release a detailed funding and completion strategy. Even Governor Newsom acknowledged in 2019 that the full LA to San Francisco route was likely to not happen as planned. This isn't about party politics. It's about transparency, accountability, and making sure public dollars are used effectively. So now the question is, what happens next?
Guys, this is now a classic example of political disagreement. It's one of those that if you are in either side, maybe you are a Democrat or a Republican, you're left wondering like who is on the wrong here. But we're gonna look at that into details. Before that, I just want to talk about that train to nowhere thing. So many people are naming that project that as of now, but the plan was to link California to San Francisco. A project that has now taken 16 years was supposed to cover a distance of 800 miles and to take around $33 billion. And as of now, only 171 miles have been covered, and it's created jobs for around 15,000 people, and only 50 structures have been able to be completed. And now it's the project seeks $127 billion more. So people are left wondering, like, if this project was supposed to be completed in a period of 16 years, Why do you need so much money for only covering a short distance? And now this brings the issue of accountability that so many people have been talking about, that also the administration has been talking about, where it seems like Governor Gavin Newsom is not truthful in some way. He himself comes out with a statement saying that this is a gift to China, where Donald Trump fails to support the USA in such projects that will boost the economy of this state. It means that other entities like those Chinese are gonna benefit from the project rather than the people from the United States. The Donald Trump administration argues that unless there is a clear plan, unless the governor and his entourage brings out a clear plan and can account for each and every dollar, he's not gonna fund it, and he's not gonna take taxpayers' money to fund a project that is not sure of completion. And so he feels the need to revoke the budget for this project. We've had the first clips where he says that people can drive, people can use airplanes from California to San Francisco. But anyways, guys, it all spans out to the issue of accountability again, because if you've been tasked with a project, at least do it. Even though most projects stall, at least there should be a progress report on everything and the reasons why the project stalled. Others are wondering, can California state by itself contribute money in order to do the projects as a state and not depending on the federal funding? Theoretically, you would say it would be possible, but so many people do think that this is close to impossible. California itself has no capacity to do that. So we cannot discuss that without touching on why the high-speed rail would have benefited California. Of course, one of the reasons for doing this project is the cutting of emissions and things like that, where, you know, if many people use the high-speed rail, it would reduce significantly the carbon emissions in the air. Of course, if less people drive or if less people fly, using an electric high-speed rail would be more beneficial because it would reduce that. Also, another thing is about convenience. Obviously, having a high-speed rail would be quicker as compared to maybe road. But now with the cut, it seems like it will undermine the California Cap and Trade program that was supposed to fund some of the projects. Don't forget that so far so good, $15 billion has been spent for this project, and only that 171 miles out of 800 miles is one of those. If someone is not taking accountability in my camp, I'm not rolling with you, guy. You must take accountability of your actions. So many are left wondering, how would the project go forward? Would they come back to it if a clear plan is made? Also, what about the construction that has already been done right now? What about the jobs that it created? So much to think about, so much possibilities, so much hypothesis to throw around and just try to find the correct answers to this question. And so I'm not going to leave that to myself. I'm going to also throw that field to you. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Your opinions would really help shed light to this matter. Do you think the administration in future would give more funding to this project, or do you think the state of California by itself will raise funds required to spearhead this project forward? Also, don't forget to go and check the original creators of these videos. Their usernames have been embedded in the stitched videos as always. Go on to their TikToks, follow, like for this channel. Make sure you smash a huge thumbs up button. Consider subscribing, turn on post notification so that you may not miss my next upload. And with that, guys, let me meet you in the next one. Peace out.